Well, I'll tell you what, that wasn't the start I was hoping for the FPL season. As far as I can tell, I'm moving, and there is audio. So guys, let me know if you are getting what I believe you are getting, because that was a bit of a nightmare, wasn't it? I've not even been able to check my own audio because my iPad's having a mare now trying to even connect to this stream. But thank you guys so much for your patience. Thank you guys for joining, those of you still around and haven't just given up on the stream. We usually have a better start to the FPL season than that. We usually have a better start to streams than that. So apologies. As always, what is everybody drinking? We are on the beer today. God, did I need this beer, because that was the worst start to a stream ever. And audio is working, so we're all good. We're all good. Perfect. Well, yeah, Ismail, it wasn't the most perfect start ever, but you know what? We got there in the end. We got there in the end. It's not even like I've taken some time off. I've been streaming World Cup fantasy football, haven't I? And still somehow it goes this wrong. Why on earth Nymphoria thought that she could rely on me to be a tech man, and I've now got beer on my keyboard, my brand new keyboard. Fun times for the flock. Okay, so shout out to people in the chat. We've got Mahfouz Udin, JP43, Jamal Rice, good to see you. Seb Hodson, Austin Furlow, Peter Gray. TP is in the chat. Immortal Rapids, Peter Gray, I've already said. Ismail Mayet, the Chrissy 95. Keith Edwards is there as well. And Jeff Holt, who joins just after all the commotion and all the technical difficulties. Just going to share the live stream. Hopefully my computer just doesn't give up on itself. And let's get started with some FPL, with some fantasy football. It's finally back. Big news. We have two new forwards in the game that were midfielders last year. We have Zaha and Arnautovic, 7 million each. Both are now classified as forwards. We'll have to see if that is of any benefit to us. Zaha potentially could still be playing up front for Palace. Arnautovic, under new management, may not necessarily be leading the line, so we've got to wait and see how that goes. Mohamed Salah is still a midfielder, but he's going to cost you £13 million. So he is the most expensive player in the game. After a season like he had recently, that kind of is understandable. So I personally think go without Salah at your own risk, because so many people own him. Right now, if I am correct, his ownership's almost at 50%. The next highest is Kane on 38.9, so he's almost 10% higher owned than Kane, Harry Kane. And Firmino is virtually the same ownership as Harry Kane as well, 37.7. Then De Gea, 32.2. Then Zaha, very popular pick with that 7 million price tag for a forward at 31.9. Those are the people all over 30%. And yeah, other than that, nothing major that I've seen or heard about. But I've got a team to pick. So right now you can see I've got Fabianski and Forster in goal. I believe they rotate well, which is why I selected them. I could be completely wrong, but if I have a quick look at the fixtures, I know for the first couple of games, is it Forster I've picked? I've got to get used to my teams again. It is Southampton and West Ham. As far as I'm aware, West Ham don't have the best start. But when West Ham have Liverpool, Southampton have Burnley, then it's Southampton, Everton and West Ham, Bournemouth. Then you've got Arsenal for West Ham, but Southampton have Leicester. So they rotate the first 3 games decently. That is literally the only thing I've really looked at. Other than that, this is just an auto pick side because I wanted to get the players picked as quickly as possible. So we can pretty much go and eliminate all of these. And the first pick that I am definitely set on before I start going through the chat is we do want this man, Mohamed Salah. I think with the ownership as high as it is too risky not to have him, especially with Liverpool having such a good start to the season. West Ham, Crystal Palace and Brighton Hove Albion. All of those games coming when some players will probably be rested after their World Cup heroics. And by the way, how well are England doing? So let's get into the chat. Sorry if there were any questions while there were technical difficulties. I probably missed them. That is my bad. Well, actually, it's my computer's bad. It changed the name of my audio device, my Yeti, to USB 2 something audio device. And then it also decided to stop recognising my webcam, which it's never done before. So it just had a bit of a mare. Jamal, well done on your video of Crystal Palace. I thought I saw something like that, actually. You may have shared it with me on Twitter, I don't remember, but we have another celebrity now in the chat. It's not just me. Jamal Rice, winner of the mini league for FPL Today last season. Getting in on the news by the looks of it. Austin Furlow, how long do we have to wait? Usually it doesn't start off that bad, Austin, so please bear with me if you are new to the channel. I know I'd usually say consider subscribing. Maybe you want to hold off on that and just wait and see if we can recover this. TP saying classic stream with the sound difficulties. For ages I never had sound difficulties. Now, sound difficulties, camera difficulties. Peter Gray, can't open my Estella. Is that Estrella? You're meant to put an R in there until you start. To be fair, you probably were getting impatient then, weren't you, mate? You probably had your beer ready thinking, come on, mate. TP, I plan on doing a draft, most likely with the rest of the Wildcats. That's how I imagine it going, but we'll see. I'm not going to do a draft with a draft stream like I did last year because it was really long, for one. And to be honest, I think the draft game is better with a small amount of people. Maybe that's something I can do with Patreons. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, I can't be a Patreon. I get that, but there should be some benefit to being a Patreon, I guess. Speaking of which, if you are a Patreon, go check the Patreon website. Discord channel is starting up for FPL this season. Probably going to start a Patreon league as well. We've got our first Rate My Team. We've got Ismail Mayet with a Rate My Team of Pickford. Everyone's looking at Pickford now after his great performances for England recently. I want to see how Everton do under Silva first before I really go with any of their defenders. I think with the big teams rotating a lot, I think a lot of people are looking at the big goalkeepers. Pickford for me would probably be a little bit too expensive for an Everton goalkeeper. Azpilicueta, I mean, decent stats last year when he had Morata up front and he was linking up with Morata quite well. Not sure Azpilicueta would be one of the first names on my team sheet. Daniels at 4.5 million. As we are mentioning him, I'm pretty confident he is one I do want in my side. So we will go and find Mr. Daniels as well. And I believe Bournemouth and Palace rotate well. I could be lying. I did a whole rotation video on this and I've forgotten already. But I think... let me just have a look. Bournemouth have a very good start to the season, to be fair. 3 games, Cardiff, West Ham, Everton. Looks like they might rotate home and away with Palace. If I just up the amount of fixtures. Yeah, I think that's correct. So, definitely one thing I'm thinking of if memory does serve me correctly. is Daniels, and then it was... I mean, Van Aanholt would be nice, but at 5.5 million, I don't really think he's a rotation option. You do have Tompkins at 4.5 though. So that can be my cheap defence there. And the team keeps on building. But the rest of your team, Robertson. I think Robertson will be a great option. I think a lot of people going Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think for the start of the season, Robertson's probably a better shout. He should have a whole pre-season to get ready. He looked very good for Liverpool as well. Eriksen, I think, is an absolute steal at 9.5 million. When you compare him to the other midfielders in the game, if we go and have a look at midfielders only, and if we go by price, you've got Salah 13, Sterling 11, De Bruyne 10, Eriksen at 9.5. Eriksen at 9.5 scored more than Hazard, who is 10.5, more than Sanchez, who is 10.5. So I really like the look of Eriksen at 9.5 million. Mahrez, to be fair, 195 points for 9 million, had a good season last year. You've got Sane, could have a good start to this season as well, so I'm definitely interested in Sane. But I think Eriksen is definitely a good shout. Pogba, I'm not too fond of Pogba. Sanchez is the type of player that could come back with an absolute amazing season this year. Sane, I think, is a good shout. Firmino is a good upfront option. 9.5 million, again, looks like great value for money compared to some of the other strikers. I think a lot of the strikers are 11 million this year, the premium priced ones. So if we go and look at forwards, you got Kane 12.5, Aguero 11, Lukaku 11. You've got Jesus 10.5. So Firmino at 9.5, only Vardy scored more, and Vardy's 9 million. So you could be potentially looking at Vardy, but I'm not sure what Leicester's fixtures look like if they are that good. Toussaint and Wood. So Toussaint, Everton do have a good start to the season. Could be a good shout. Have to keep an eye on pre-season. And Burnley, first 3 games are good. Then they do have Man United in the 4th game. But then it's Wolves. So Burnley look like a decent shout. And then Bournemouth. So, I mean, it's not the classic setup with 2 cheap-ish strikers. But it's not a bad start. It's not a bad start to build your team from. We see the Chrissy 95 just straight asking Jamal to rate her team. So I don't even know if it's a her. The Chrissy 95 asking Jamal to rate their team. They've got Speroni and Edison. I think Edison's a good shout for the beginning of the season. Not sure if Speroni will be a starter. You've got Van Dijk, good shout. Cedric. That's another one, I think, with good early fixtures. So I think a lot of people are giving Cedric a go. Southampton with Burnley, Everton, Leicester, Crystal Palace and Brighton Hove Albion in their first 5 games. So you know what? I'm a bit weird. I like to go 2 or 3 cheap defenders. And if Cedric isn't too expensive, I think Cedric will then go into the side. And I've still got 64.5 million to spend on the rest of my side. Salah taking up the majority of that budget. Anyway, the rest of the side, Daniels, good shout. Tarkowski, Tompkins, I think they're all good shouts as defenders. You've gone very cheap in defence, I see, which I am a proponent of at the beginning of the game anyway. You've got Sane, El Yunusi. As far as I'm aware, his stats are not as incredible as I thought they were going to be. And of course, I'm not going to be able to find him now. Nope, cannot find the player. Great. Let me try and get his name off of the website. There we go. Because I've seen a lot of people consider El Yunusi, But I don't think he's the standout option everyone thinks he is. I cannot get his stats up. That is very annoying. Cannot find him for some reason. Great. I'm sure I have looked at them though, and I don't think they were that incredible. So I wouldn't put him in myself. Deulofeu had a very good season last year. When he did play, sorry. He got injured very early, didn't he? It might be worth a risk. Jota's stats are not too bad. That is one I have looked at. If I just bring my stats over to this side. We'll just go over some Wolves options I have been looking at. We have, in the Wolves side, Raul Jimenez at 5.5 million. He's a loan player from Benfica, I believe. Only 6 starts last year, but he's got 6 goals and 6 assists. A lot of substitute appearances for Benfica last year. Shots per game at 1.5. Diogo Jota, 6.5 million. Wolves played for them last season in the Championship. 43 appearances, 17 goals, 5 assists. Shots per game at 2.7. You've got Ivan Cavallero, 5.5 million for Wolves. Appearances 31, goals 9, assists 12, shots per game at 1.5, man of the matches at 5, average rating at 7.13. And you've got Barry Douglas as well, 38 appearances. He's a defender. He is 5 million, which is a bit more than I'd want to spend on a Wolves defender. But 5 goals, 14 assists, 4 man of the match appearances, and a 7.41 average rating. The only issue is, if we actually have a look at their start to the season, Wolves have Everton, Leicester, Man City, West Ham, Burnley and Man United. So maybe not one to jump straight into with, but Wolves do look like they have some good options. And as for Tosun, Aubameyang and Zaha, I like it. I like it. Tosun could do very well at Everton. Aubameyang had a great start to his Arsenal career, and Zaha could be a good shout. Seb Hodgson with the first conundrum. Salah and Zaha or Firmino and Eriksen. I would probably look at Salah and Zaha for me. I just think Salah's ownership means you need to own him. I mean, Firmino and Eriksen are both going to be great options this season, I think. But I think at least at the start, while his ownership is so high, if you don't have Salah, it's just going to hurt. If Salah does amazing and you don't have him and everyone else does, you're going to be off to a slow start. If you do have Salah and he has a great start, you're fine because you've got him. If he has a bad start, almost half like the players in the game have Salah, so they'll also be having the same player who's not scoring. So I would just put Salah in to mitigate the risk at the beginning of the season. The Chris United 5, any good £4 million keeper that plays. How much is the new goalkeeper at Palace? Because I know Palace have just brought in a new keeper. He's 4.5 though. Is there any goalkeeper I think will actually play? It's very early to kind of predict this, just for the record. But I would say none of them. I don't even think these guys are starters, Button and Norris. And I don't know enough about the goalkeeping situation at Fulham and Wolves. So I don't think there is a £4 million option. Which is unfortunate. If one does come up, I'm sure we will all jump on it. Ismail Mayet, Sanchez or Lukaku? I would go Lukaku actually. He's having a good World Cup. Actually, Sanchez first, because Sanchez will have hopefully had a good pre-season, be fully fit for the start of the season. Lukaku could be going all the way to the World Cup final. But for the entire season, potentially Lukaku, for me, looks the safer route. Although Sanchez could settle in and have a fantastic season. We just don't know, really. It's one that, like I said, we've got no pre-season to go off of. Pedigree-wise, both are great players in the game. Both have had good seasons. And great seasons, in fact. So neither are a bad option, but it is one of those which could be difficult to predict right now. And I've dropped to the bottom of the chat, so give me 1 second to get back to where I need to be. Immortal Rapids, don't worry, the season will only improve from here, hopefully. Mate, I used to be able to stream fine, no issues. It's all gone a bit Pete Tong, but we seem to be going all right now. Started later than I wanted to, ideally, but what's up, Jeff, Mr. PR man? Immortal Rapids, don't take hay fever tablets before drinking, please. I haven't. I do suffer from hay fever. I've just not taken any tablets this year, though, to be fair. Peter Gray saying it's on. Arsenal have a sick run of fixtures starting from game week 3. That is correct. If we have a look at it, just for those that maybe don't know. Once Arsenal have passed their tough fixtures, you've got game week 3, West Ham at home, Cardiff away, Newcastle away, Everton at home, Watford at home, Fulham at home. Does it continue? Leicester at home. Crystal Palace at home. Oh, then Liverpool in game week 11. But from game week 3 to game week 10, Arsenal have a very good set of fixtures. Immortal Rapids, and you may disagree with me here. He's saying football's not coming home. England still haven't played a single decent team. It's so annoying that all fans are getting ahead of themselves. Part of me agrees with you, but the part of me that doesn't agree with you is because of this. Originally, football's coming home was sarcasm by England fans because none of us believed we were going to do well at all. As we've got further, we've started to hope, and that is where like the faith has come in the side. Good performance against Sweden. Not a great performance against Colombia, but it got the job done. Yes, Panama and Tunisia are easy. We should have beaten them. I completely agree with you there. But the fact is, a lot of big teams have been falling out of the tournament. Can we beat Croatia? I believe we can. Then we're in the final, and anything can happen in a final. Yes, it may not be the most epic run of victories to a final, but still, you can only beat the teams that are put in front of you, as I say. So, I'm now excited. I still probably fancy France or Belgium over England if I'm being realistic, but I've got to just believe in my side. And I think that's what everyone should do. You should believe in your side. And to be honest, it's been a long time since England fans have believed. The Christian 95, Kane probably won't even be playing in August, which will be nice. As long as he doesn't take that form into September. Ismail Mayet's team's got... I think I've already done your team. Yeah, that looks familiar. If I haven't already done your team, the ones I would look at, Robertson, maybe a bit expensive. Pickford, I'm not sure about. Sane, I like. Ericsson, Pogba, I'm not sure about Pogba. Not sure I'd go Pogba and Sanchez, to be fair. Immortal Rapid says he's got the same keepers. Blessing Arolo, Mr. Sponsor, is in the chat. And if you do want to support the stream, don't worry, it's not always as bad as it was at the beginning. If you do want to sponsor the stream, you can. Link should be in the description or somewhere on the page. Also in the description is various ways to support the channel and a link to the FPL Today mini league. Also, FPL Wildcats, go check it out. We should be streaming when Brett gets back for FPL content, where you can see more of my computer messing up my streams. Also, Patreon-wise and sponsor-wise, I do plan to do more this year for the guys that are supporting the channel. There will be a Discord. Blessing, I will have to send you the link to the Discord as you're a sponsor, but there will be that as well. JP43 doesn't think Foster will start, thinks McCarthy might. As far as I'm aware, and don't get me wrong, I've really not had a chance to look at this because I've been working, watching football. I went to a wedding over the weekend, so I'm not the most prepared I've ever been. But McCarthy is the same price, so I can quite easily switch if necessary. So I'm not too worried about who starts for Southampton at the moment. I think Tompkins and Daniels rotating is a good option. Should I start with KDB or Eriksen? I think I might not have KDB as a World Cup. I would definitely go Eriksen. He's out of the World Cup earlier, which means he's more likely to start the season early and be fitter. Also, I think the difference in value is too much to be going De Bruyne. Unless you're that worried about Man City coverage. I mean, Eriksen is 0.5 million cheaper. 10 points less. So I suppose you could argue that that 0.5 could be a good spend, but you could probably spend it better elsewhere with other 0.5 millions you might save in other areas. Keith Edwards, I do like the idea of Edison, a no-brainer. I think with Mendy coming in, I think Walker and Mendy should be the favoured fullbacks. But defensively, centre-back wise, there's going to be rotation, I reckon. Anton Persson, what was your rank last season? I wasn't happy with my rank last season, but don't let that make you think it was terrible. If I can do this correctly. If I can remember where it is. I think it's here, view game week history. There we go. So if you can see that on the screen, I was 21,946th last year, which is my second best ever finish. I did want to improve on my finish in 2016-17, where I was 10,083rd, just outside the top 10k. And then the year before that, I was 24,754th. And the year before that, before I started any YouTube videos, I was 99,956th. Then please ignore these two. This is when I didn't take it seriously. The World Cup 2014 is when I started to get into fantasy football. So anything before that, I don't count as me really taking it seriously. Exactly, Immortal Rapids. I really do believe it's not worth the risk to not own Mohamed Salah. I mean, if you are brave enough to do it and it pays off for you, then good on you. But I'm really not in that same boat as you. I think he is essential. And I know it's always a risk to call someone essential, but I think he really is. Is Jan Bednarak a good shout or risky? Okay, my memory's got to work here. Because I need to remember what team he plays for. And I've picked the wrong one. If you let me know what team he plays for, that may jog my memory. Do you think Salah may be targeted by Robertson, give more point scoring opportunities to Mane and Firmino? Jeff, I think that's always a possibility, but I think if that is really the case, surely why weren't they doing it earlier? Because it was pretty much common knowledge by a certain point that Salah was that good a player. So, yes, it could happen. And I personally think all three are going to score decent points. But I think the problem with targeting Salah is, like you said, you are going to give Mane and Firmino opportunities. And it's not like they're terrible players. You need to have a good full defensive plan against Liverpool. Not just target one player. They're not a one-player team. So if you take that risk, I think you're opening yourselves up to even bigger defeats, if that's even possible. Aidan Headley, I would say this. Your question, how much weight would you put on Kane in August issues plus the World Cup? Don't listen to whatever I have to say about Harry Kane. I was adamant that August wasn't a thing last year. I held on to Kane for so long and it wasn't worth it. So my gut would say, how much weight would I put on it? Kane, don't pick him in August. That's what I'd say. Especially with the World Cup. It's just a no-brainer for me this year. But Kane is still a great player. Will he hit the ground running when he does start playing? I'm not sure. I think he might be one of those players that needs a couple of competitive games, which may mean for part of September he's not even on fire yet. The false 9 makes a good point. Salah straight in. Don't think we'll be having Kane as well, because that is a quarter of his budget. Quarter of budget is a lot of money, so yeah. I think Salah's the one to have, and figure out if you really need Kane later on in the season. The Christian 95 going for Edison, wanting some save against Arsenal. Immortal Rapids made his team based on my rotation video. As long as it's the defence and goalkeepers, then that could be a good strategy. I personally am not a man to rotate my midfielders and forwards though. Christian 95, I have checked out Wolves. I did just go over some stats. I'm probably behind the chat, to be fair. So you probably said this before I went over the stats. There are a lot of good options in that Wolves side. I just don't think they have the best start to the season. I think the big problem is they've got big teams chucked in there every now and again, and we don't know how they're going to play against the likes of Everton, Leicester, West Ham, Burnley. It might be worth a punt. One of their midfielders would probably be a good shout. So I definitely wouldn't ignore them. But I would like to see how they do in the league first. Evan J. Fox pointing out how hard it is to get cheap defenders in the big teams. That is true. I think that's good though. I think it gets to a point where it's really easy to just know, okay, this is the player I'm picking because he's 5.5 million in a good defence. So I kind of like it. It means people are going to have to search harder for the good defenders, which means those of us that do our homework could be better off. The R was meant to be there, it's already gone. That's how far behind I am in the chat. Evan J. Fox, check Arsenal, 5 million for Leno. If he starts, he might be a good goalkeeper. Apologies for the sound effects of the alcohol. Leno has got a good reputation. Again, I would wait to see how he does in the Premier League. Also, when a team, especially like Arsenal, who've had a manager for so long, change their manager, I like to kind of wait. So I'd only pick one Arsenal player. And to be honest, Aubameyang's looked very, very good when he was playing last year. So I think he could be a good shout. Aidan Headley, rate my team. Got Forster, Daniels, Francis. Is that 2 Bournemouth defenders? I wouldn't risk 2 at the beginning. Yoshida's decent, to be fair. He's looked very good in the World Cup. Not sure about the actual Southampton side, though. Mkhitaryan could be great. Him and Aubameyang could link up really well, but again, new management at Arsenal. Son. Does anyone know what the situation with Son and his required military service is? That's the only worry I have with Son, and also Spurs may strengthen, and I think Eriksen, Kane and Ali aren't going anywhere, so Son may suffer. Mane, good shout. Sane, I like for the beginning of the season. Morata, there's rumours he might be moving. Firmino, good shout. Lukaku, again, decent shout. So's Fabianski. Fabianski's a great goalkeeper. If he'll do as well at West Ham as he did at Swansea is another question. But I think Fabianski is a good goalkeeper to take a risk on. Cedric, I like. Yedlin, potentially. Newcastle are decent defensively. Masuaka, I probably wouldn't double up on West Ham defence. Off topic, what do you think of CR7 going to Juve? If he does, I actually like it. I think that's what, for me, puts Cristiano Ronaldo above Messi, is he's played in different leagues, played in different teams, and adapted to different situations, which I've not really seen Messi ever do in his career. So I like the move. I think it will make it, bring a lot of interest to Italian football as well, which gets a bad rap for being overly defensive. I've actually enjoyed some Italian games that I have watched. I remember watching a 0-0 draw between, I think, Milan, the 2 Milan clubs, and I thought it was an epic game. Immortal Rapids, please read. I got Son in because I think he'll start first few games due to Ali being in the World Cup, and I believe Pogba will have a great season as Fred has come in. Fred is defensive, so it will let Pogba roam. I don't know enough about Fred to be sure how Fred will play. I think Pogba is great in a 3-man midfield, but Mourinho doesn't play a 3-man midfield, which really worries me. So I would still wait and see. You could be 100% right. As far as Son, I'm not sure I'd risk Son. Maybe closer to the beginning of the season I might go with Son. But right now I think I am okay. As far as midfield coverage, I might go with Eriksen. Any mids around 7 million that are not Jota from JP43, and my beer can is in the way of my screens selecting. So we'll look at midfielders, and this is a common part of the stream where people ask me for players under a certain price. Grosh at 7 million just seems a bit steep now, to be fair, but he did have a good season last year. Milivojevic, the player I love saying the name of, 6.5, Decore 6. Lingard at 7. There's the potential he could break into the side after a very good World Cup so far. Richarlison, we all know the dramas with Richarlison. Great start to the season last year and then just failed to deliver. Townsend at 6. If he's playing up front with Zaha, if things don't change at Palace, Townsend at 6 could be decent. Goodmanson is decent at 6 as well. Reliable. Richie at 6 million is decent. Moy 5.5 still. I'm surprised Moy is 5.5. Mkhitaryan at 7 million. I mean, he could have an amazing season. Albrighton has always been reliable, 5.5. Lanzini has, of course, got the injury, so we won't be thinking of him for a while. And then I think Iwobi, I'm not 100% sure would ever start. So if he ever actually got a decent run in the side and got a decent run of form, could be a good shout. But let's go all the way to the end. I personally think, midfield-wise, Neves may play too deep in the Premier League. In the Championship, he could get far enough forward, I think, and Wolves could control games enough. And I'm not saying I'm a fully knowledgeable on Wolves, but I reckon a very different kettle of fish for Wolves to deal with in the Premier League. So I'm going to say Cavallero and Jota are the best bets for there. Armstrong, if he's the one from Celtic, I thought he's quite an attacking player. If he starts, who knows? I wouldn't go Fred or Fabinho. Maddison was very good last year. Going to Leicester for a lot of money. Could potentially be a breakthrough player. Anyone else standing out? Sessegnon, 6.5. Left wing. He was playing near the end of last season, I believe. Could be a decent shout. And then all these others have played, so don't think there's any new players really to look at other than the ones I've mentioned. So if you're going safe, I'd look at the players that were scoring points last season, but there are some potential punts you could take that are also there. Get back to the stream questions. Okay, Jeff Holt's side so far, he's got Begovic and Ryan, decent 2 goalkeepers. Tompkins, Daniels, I think that's very common. Cedric, I've got those 3. Robertson and Kiko, decent players there. Robertson, probably the best Liverpool option, but for me, maybe just a little too expensive for the beginning of the season. He's got Mane, Sane, Millie, David Silva and Tom Kearney from Fulham. Could be decent, Kearney, to be fair. I feel like you should have Salah, but I know what you're like. You like to go against the grain, Jeff, so I can see that. Firmino, Aguero, Zaha, decent front 3. He's going to wait 1 to 6 weeks and then bring in Salah, potentially with a wild card if he's performing. See, I'm going to go the other way and just bring him in case he performs because of his ownership. TP, I was as surprised as you were. I was starting to plan to get ahead of the curve with FPL content, and then they just dropped it. I'm like, cheers guys. Last year I took time off and you dropped it right near the end of my holiday. This year you dropped it earlier than I was expecting. Walid Katabi, Arsenal strikers. I think Aubameyang is your best bet. Lacazette looks decent, don't get me wrong, but I think Aubameyang is the main Arsenal striker. That could change, of course, but right now, that is the way I feel. Capkin Gaming, by the way, in the chat. Go and check his channel out. Does FPL content. I've seen you, mate. Don't worry, I noticed you. Capkin Gaming, go check him out. Show him some support as well. Some decent content. Welcome everyone to the community. I know you've done it for a while. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. I've seen you around for a while. But go and support him if you haven't heard about him. Yeah, I've eventually got that last sentence out. Immortal Rapids. Son is away for the first month as he's going to the Asia Games. There you go. Thank you for the update, JP. Cedric is cheap as chips as well. FM and Recorder League on the go. My draft squad looks like Fabianski, De Gea, decent goalkeepers. I'm not sure you need Fabianski if you're going De Gea, but potentially if I was going De Gea, I'd just pick a 4 million goalkeeper. Maybe even his understudy, De Gea's understudy. You've got Robertson, Daniels, Van Aanholt, Bednarek, and Tarkowski. Why do I not know where Bednarek plays? I've heard the name. I like the defence though. Salah, Eriksson, Neves, Sigurdsson, and Kearney. Sigurdsson could have a great season. We know he's capable of playing well in the Premier League. Then you've got Zaha, Aubameyang, and Wilson. So yeah, that's a decent side. What am I doing in terms of draft? I think it will just be a draft with the Wildcats, I believe, is most likely what I'm going to do. Purely because I tried the whole doing a draft with a bunch of people, and I personally didn't enjoy it because it was just very long and tedious for me. Apologies if that offends anyone. But also, with so many people, after about 2 or 3 rounds, all the good players were gone. The False 9 says Liverpool do have a good start. And to be fair to them, apart from the England players, they've all gone out of the World Cup quite early-ish. Brazil probably the ones that stayed in longest after that, with Liverpool players in, Firmino. Best defender at 6.5. That's a different question, making me look at the expensive options. Okay, so it's a shame you can't put with a minimum price of. So we've got Azpilicueta and Alonso, 6.5. There's no 7 million defender this year. As far as memory serves me, goal threat wise, you were still looking at Alonso as the highest goal threat. 7 goals in the season. So if you're going to go premium defender, 7 goals for a defender is still epic. You've then got total attempts, 65. That's 30 more than the next best player with goal threat, Moses, at 35. So he's already 2 goals higher than Van Aanholt and Monreal. As far as attempts on goal, he's 30 higher than Moses, 32 higher than Van Aanholt. As far as shots inside the box, he's 12 higher than his next opposition. So you've got 28 with Duffy. Alonso had 40 attempts inside the box. Big chances. Actually, Alonso had less big chances than Rudiger, Tompkins, Bellerin, Shawcross, Maguire and Van Aanholt. And Maguire has had a lot of big chances in the World Cup as well. So that could be something to consider. Maguire 5.5, I believe. I think that maybe... Is that going off of this year's costs or last year's? I don't know. But Maguire could be a shout. Van Aanholt had big chances though. As far as on target, Alonso 22 shots on target. That's 11 more than Van Aanholt and Moses, who both had 11 apiece. Minute per chance, he was at 44 minutes per chance, a chance per half. As far as shot conversion, if we're looking at players, you know what? It's difficult to look at shot conversion because the players that didn't play many games get good shot conversion. Bednarek does play for Southampton, according to this. I looked at Palace, didn't I? There we go. So I finally figured out who he plays for. As far as distribution, you have to really stand out as an assist maker for it to really bridge a gap to Alonso. But chances created, Ben Davies created 46 chances. £6 million, 46 chances. That's only 6 higher than Trippier though. And he had 5 more games. So if Trippier can get more starts, that could be a good look. Holebas, 39 chances created. Bertrand, 36. Alonso showing up on 34. Big chances created. Azpilicueta with 11 big chances. Bellerin and Robertson with 8 apiece. Trippier with 7. Walker with 7. Holebas and Cedric and Kolasinac with 6. Davies, Cresswell, Milner, Maguire and Aurier with 5, and Alonso turning up with 4. And then as far as total assists go, Trippier and Davis with 7 apiece, Cresswell with 7, Azpilicueta with 6, Walker, Moses with 6, Robertson, Bertrand with 5, Bellerin, Holebas, Kolasinac, Maguire with 4, Cedric with 3, Milner with 3. So as far as actual assists, Alonso got 2. So goal threat, Alonso stands head and shoulders above the rest. Then otherwise you've got Trippier, Davis, Azpilicueta. You've got Van Aanholt, who had good goal threat. To be fair to him, Maguire had decent goal threat as well. So those are probably the premium defenders I would be looking at. And then, of course, you've got to take into account the likelihood of a clean sheet. Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool likely to get clean sheets, to be fair. So that is where I'd be looking if I was going to spend that much on defence. And I completely missed a super chat. So thank you so much to whoever that was who gave me a super chat. I can't even see it. Let me big screen my... James O. Mahoney, €5. Thank you so much, my friend. Can we get some hearts in the chat for James? Thank you so much. It's always appreciated on this channel. Do the cheesy heart for you. I will get to your question right now if I can quickly find it. And then I will get back to the rest of the stream. There we go. So James Mahoney has got De Gea. It says rate my team. Baines, Ake, Daniels, Sanchez, Grosh, Sessegnon, Brady, Ericsson, Lukaku, Firmino, Subsa, Speroni, Stones, Halford and Gale. Please rate. So De Gea is a great goalkeeper choice. He is the best goalkeeper in the league, probably in the world at the moment. Speroni doesn't look like a starter. There doesn't seem to be a £4 million starter. So it doesn't really matter because if De Gea is out, you're probably going to be looking for a goalkeeper anyway. Baines, I prefer Coleman, but Baines is a good shout. He's getting on a bit in age now. So if Coleman shows some good preseason form, I'd probably go Coleman. Ake and Daniels, I wouldn't double up on Bournemouth defence, especially so early in the season. If they start to show good form defensively, then double up. But I'd probably go Daniels and change Ake to someone else that could rotate with him. You then got Sanchez. I personally don't think Sanchez is worth it until we see some of the return to form that he has had previously. But don't get me wrong, Sanchez could be a vital part of the season. I just wouldn't go with him from the beginning. We then got Grosh and Sessegnon. Grosh I like. 7 million's a bit more expensive than I'd have liked him to come in at, but he was decent last season, a very important player for Brighton. Sessegnon, it could be epic. It could be worth the punt. If you feel like he's going to do well, I would probably risk keeping him in. Brady, not too sure I would stick with though. Ericsson, I really like at 9.5 million. I think Ericsson will be a very popular option. Lukaku and Firmino, 2 great strikers, so I can't argue with that, having those two. I do worry that Aguero might return to like his serious goal-scoring form this season, but there's plenty of strikers to pick from, to be fair. Aubameyang, of course, is another one. Stones on the bench, I'd probably bring Stones in if you think he's going to start. Halford, I'm not sure who he plays for. And if that's Gale from Newcastle, I think there might be better choices out there. But hopefully that's helpful, my friend. If you have any more questions, do put them in the chat. I will get to them when I get to the bottom of the chat. But hopefully that has helped you out, my friend. And apologise for missing the original super chat. For some reason, my screen didn't alert me. I didn't get any audio to alert me, which is annoying. But thank you so much. So much. I feel like I'm talking to my daughter at the end there. Apologies for that. It looks like it could be one of those long streams, so we may start going through some questions a little bit quicker. I've got to find where I was. Okay. McCarthy or Forster, any ideas, please? From what Somnath Sakar, from what I've heard, it looks like McCarthy's starting from the chat. But to be honest, just figure out who's starting and then pick them. I think FPL Premier League Tips is saying Jota not good for beginning the season. I don't think Wolves are someone to jump on too early, but they do have some promising looking players. Anton Persson, rate my team. Edison, which is a good choice. £4 million goalkeeper. I'm assuming you're just going to keep him on the bench. Robertson, Cedric, Loughton, Cedric. Is that Cedric twice? Tompkins. I like the defence. I'm not sure you can double up on Cedric though. Salah, Ericsson, good choices. Mickey, decent choice at 7 million. Kearney, I think could be a good shout. And a 4.5 million midfielder. I'm assuming going to be bench fodder. Then Firmino, Aguero, Zaha, decent front three to be fair. With Son, apparently he might be in the Asia Games and there's a chance he could be doing military service. So I personally would stay away from Son. Evan J. Fox, good to see you in the chat, my friend. Can you rate my team? Begovic, good goalkeeper. Should get lots of saves, to be fair, if Bournemouth do play like they did last season. Tompkins, Lovren. I'm not a fan of Lovren, so I probably wouldn't pick him, but never mind. Bamba, midfield, Jota, De Bruyne, Salah, Sigurdsson. Forward Zaha, Lukaku and Firmino. Think you need Salah. For me, Ericsson at 0.5 million cheaper would be my go-to over De Bruyne. I mean, it's a decent start. I like Begovic. I like Tompkins. I like Salah. Sigurdsson is a bit of a punt, but it could work out. And I like your front three. Masaka's in midfield now. Are you kidding me, Immortal Rapids? If he's in midfield... I don't think I'd even pay any attention to him. Oh, wow, he is. Really? Really, FPL? Really? Nah, that has to be a mistake, surely. Check El Yunusi on Transfer Marked. Everyone keeps telling me to use this site, so you know what? Let's give it a go. Why not? Why not, ladies and gentlemen? There we go. Found him straight away. Okay, so never used this site before, just for the record. So 17-18 season. That isn't right. Do I want detailed? I want to see by year. There we go. 17-18. So, El Yunusi. If I did get the right stats, actually he looks better than I thought. Okay, so in the Super League, which I believe is the Turkish league, 33 appearances, 11 goals, 15 assists. Is that correct? Am I reading that right? I am. 1 own goal. 3 yellow cards. So that isn't bad, you know. That is not bad at all. Scored against the like of FC Basel. Got assists against Moscow and Basel. In the Rafasayan Superliga. So that is... What country is that in? Is that Switzerland? I think that's Switzerland. Completely got that wrong. So you know what? I would not put the Switzerland League high enough for me to take the punt on El Yunusi. How come Patricio's not in the game? I personally think they've released the game before they've got all the players on. Because there are some teams, I think Fulham is especially one, that look like they don't have enough players. Sorry, my phone just went nuts for a minute there, so I thought, you know what? Better have a little look. So, yeah, I think Patricio is a good goalkeeper. Again, not sure I'd risk Wolves. Why they're only like 12... I just spoke about that, really. But TP, great minds think alike. We've answered Somnath's question. Immortal Rapids, speaking about Jota. Apparently more of a forward in real life. El Yunusi apparently got a goal and assist against City in the Champions League. Did he? That's not what Transfer Marks just told me. 8 games, 2 goals, and both those goals were against Basel. Oh no, he plays for Basel. Reading the wrong side. He scored against Man City and got an assist. Scores against Benfica and then got an assist against Moscow. Sorry, new site. Not used to reading it. Mitrovic not in the game? No idea. I really don't think... I think they brought the game out too early. TP, I believe they will be rested. And I still think it's coming home. I've got to have faith in my side. I really haven't picked my team, have I? I've been so focused on answering your guys' questions. A lot of people do have Firmino, Aguero and Zaha. I think Zaha is definitely a good shout for a forward at 7 million. Chrissy 95, I just feel like I could spend 5.5 and get a better option than Neves as filler. By the way, everyone, go check Instagram for at General Footy Stuff. Who do I think will play centre-back for United? I mean, Jones looked like the favoured option. But I don't know, Ricky, to be fair. My gut would say Jones. But it wouldn't surprise me if they brought in another defender. Ismail Mayer, I believe Sanchez could do fantastic, but I really think it's safest to have Salah in your side. TP's team's got Schmeichel and Pickford, two decent goalkeepers, bit expensive for my blood. Vertonghen, Bertrand, Ward, Zabaleta, Lascelles, decent. Not 100% sure about it, but it's decent. Mane, Sessegnon, Lingard, Milivojevic, Jota, Murray, Kane, Firmino. I'm not sure if Murray will still be top dog at Brighton. As far as midfield, I feel like you could maybe have a bit more explosive power in that midfield. False 9, no City players. Well, speaking of that, I feel like one of my punts on midfield... I didn't save my team and I changed the screen, didn't I? So far, we have established that my goalkeeping partnership is going to be Forster and Fabianski, or McCarthy and Fabianski. I then also went for... We went Tompkins. We went Daniels. And we went Cedric, Southampton. I believe in midfield we said, for me, Salah is a must. I think Ericsson was also someone I really like the look of. And I think he should start at the beginning of the season. Up front, do Palace have a good run of fixtures? I think they did. Yeah, they do. So I think Zaha would be one of my strikers, so we can bring him back. I feel like I need Man City coverage, and I think the safest person to pick for Man City is the player that didn't go to the World Cup. So that's my three expensive midfielders, so I need the rest of my midfielders to be cheap. As far as up front, I mean, I like the idea of Firmino. I really do. But I'm not sure I'll be able to afford him. I do generally like to pick some expensive defenders from the sides that I think will keep clean sheets, but of course that is harder this year. Could risk Arsenal. Difficult, innit? Burnley, I mean, defensively, Burnley have been decent. And some of their players are now 5 million. And Burnley's start to the season is alright until game week 4, and then it's Man U, but I could go for a Burnley defender. Could risk Ward at 5. Then I'd probably want a more expensive defender, but we need some midfielders. Gross just seems too expensive for my liking. Martial at 7.5 million seems ridiculous in a way. I don't think Huddersfield have a great start. They have a terrible start to the season. Could, of course, cause some upsets. 7 million for Mkhitaryan seems very cheap. So then if we just look for a cheap midfielder. Apologies if there's a bit of silence. I'm actually trying to think and pick a side for now, so I actually have something to work with. Would I risk Burnley or Everton? Southampton's fixtures don't look awful, to be fair. Don't think there's anyone there I'd actually go for, though. Could go Goodmanson now. He's probably going to go on my bench. If I pick an expensive defender, then I need a really cheap striker. Am I actually going to go free Burnley? Because I want Firmino and I want Aguero. I think Kane I can ignore for now. I think Leicester I can ignore. Firmino is cheaper than Aguero. I have one Man City player. And then you could go Wood. I mean, this one's probably going to change. Because free Burnley I feel is a bit much. See, and then I've got to pick another 4.5 million defender. So I feel like my midfield may be a bit top heavy. But that's probably because of Salah. Is there any team that have a decent run of fixtures? I've got a Burnley. Palace, got Tompkins. Everton, not sure they've got a 4.5 million starter. Bournemouth, Southampton already looked at. Watford gets difficult from game week 4. Yeah. I don't like that strike force. That strike force doesn't seem good enough. But let's just pick someone for now. Is there a £4 million one? Yeah, I don't like this side, to be fair. It's that Salah, isn't it? Just taking up so much of my funds. We'll go with Dunk for now, but I'm not ecstatic with that, to be fair. Salah's really hurting. I think I potentially need to cheapen one of Eriksen and Sane to better my strike force. But anyway, I have got a side now. Lukaku will be tired, according to Ismail. True, Jeff. It's all about risk taking, isn't it? And I know you're a bit of a risk taker. What Jeff is saying is if he triples up on other Liverpool players and then Salah is targeted and all the other players do really well, he's ahead of 50% of managers, which is true. So, yeah, it could work. You could always take that risk. Ayush Valur, thank you so much for the super chat. Trent Alexander also, let's start the season. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold could be a great shout, Ayush. I think he's got some World Cup experience now. He's looked good when he has played, and I just think he could oust Nathaniel Klein, so I think he could be a great, great player. But again, some hearts in the chat for you, Ayush. Thank you so much for the super chat. Again, if anyone wants to, super chat, and you can sponsor the stream as well. All support is greatly, greatly appreciated and helps the channel keep going forward. Just a side note, I've been dropped by my network because of the new YouTube rules, which is great. I personally know I reach all the targets to be a monetized channel, but for some reason I've been dropped by my network, so a bit disappointing, especially with the new season starting. Usually I get loads of views at this time of the year, so I'm surprised they dropped me now, but hey, their choice. Yeah, Blessing, I agree. Sane's a great shout because he wasn't in the World Cup squad. Ismail, mate, if that's Giroud or Morata, I'd say Giroud. I think Morata could be on his way out. Walid Katabe, again, with Morata, I think Giroud and Lacazette are much better options. I personally prefer Lacazette, but because I think sometimes Giroud can play a bit of a side role where he's just as important for a team but doesn't really score the FPL points. Ayush Valur, I had a bit of a mare with trying to stream initially, so that is why you see so many stream videos. James Mahoney, if you can put your team in the chat, just because it's slightly easier for me, but I'm happy to rate teams. Ricky Lid, let's be fair to Hendo, sorry. He's looked decent, Henderson. Modric is, of course, world class, though. Ayush Valur, let's not have that talk about Belgium winning the World Cup. Thank you very much. Ayush Valur coming clapping back. What's your thoughts on Ryan Sessegnon and Ruben Neves? I think Ruben Neves plays too deep to be as effective in the Premier League as he was in the Championship. Ryan Sessegnon could be great, but he needs a good team around him, so I need to see how Fulham perform. But I think out of those two, Ryan Sessegnon's the one I'm watching slightly more. Immortal Rapids wants England to win so they get humiliated in the final. I've already spoke about Jota. I think he's a good shout. I just want to see how Wolves play in the Premier League first before I jump in on a Wolves player with like confidence. But Jota is one that stands out with the underlying stats. TP, you should be added straight back. It is the same one. Who to go for rather than Pogba? I like Mkhitaryan more than Pogba, to be fair, Ismail. Especially they have a good run of fixtures, I think, from Game Week 3 or so onwards. TP, I beat FPL tips last year, yes. First year I did it. TP, that was last year. Fantasy Premier League tips was last year. We've got past that now. Yeah, sure I have. Best third forward. If you can afford a £7 million forward, it's Arnautovic and Zaha. If you need cheaper, going off of the fixtures, I know a lot of people have taken a punt on Tosun from Everton. I think Bournemouth fixtures aren't too bad. You got King, Burnley, Wood. I mean, if Rashford could start, Rashford at 7 million is nice. Chicharito's at 6.5 now. Maybe on a new manager, he might be effective. Is Tosun 7.5 then? No, he's 7. So those are kind of the players people are looking at as a third striker. You can still have massive balls, Immortal Rapids, and have Salah. Ishvalur, I definitely think another player could do amazing. The reason I say he's essential is because of how many people own Salah. Chaos, I've made my team. I'm not happy with it yet, but I've made it. Immortal Rapids, I think there'll be more rotation this year with Fabinho and Keita. I think also you may have a midfielder sitting just behind those front three who has a bit more license to roam with the more power and defensive solidity that you have in that midfield. You can't pick Kane in August. This is a crop that doesn't mature until autumn. Jeff, you come up with some great sayings, mate. Yeah, Immortal Rapids, I wouldn't go near Chelsea until we've got a better picture of what is going on there. Firmino or Mane? I would personally go Firmino. I just prefer Firmino. I feel like he's a better finisher. Apologies, Liverpool fans, if you disagree. Steve Shotton, nice to see you in the chat, mate. First draft, Edison, Speroni, Stones, Alexander-Arnold, Cedric, Moses, Coleman, Salah, Neves, Walcott, Masuaka, Ramsey, Aguero, Firmino, Zaha. Masuaka looks like that cheap midfielder people are picking just because they need to pick someone cheap. Speroni, I'm not sure is starting. Edison's a good choice though. Stones I like. Alexander-Arnold is good. Cedric is good. Moses is good. Coleman good. I think there's better options than Neves, but at 5 million you can't really go wrong. Salah I like. Walcott, not really someone I'm considering. Ramsey, I'm never too sure about him. And then Aguero, Firmino, Zaha seems to be the popular front three. Chaos has Alexander-Arnold, Salah and Bobby currently. Bobby, Firmino. I think those are 3 good players to have from the Liverpool side. I think Fekir could do really well at Liverpool, Yush, if he does go. Cavallero, I like. I just think Jota may be the better option. Will Stone start? I think there's going to be rotation in that Man City side, Ismail. CRO Chelsea, good seeing the chat, my friend. Ayush Valur with the cheeky punt. Navigator differential. I don't like defensive midfielders in FPL. So I would never really look at any defensive midfielder. Even Conte I never looked at. Ayush Valur worried about what Son will do to the Indian defence. James O'Mahony. I've already gone for that team, I think, because that was the super chat, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was. If it wasn't, I apologise, but pretty sure it was. What formation, and should I pack out the midfield and attack with household names or spend at the back? Formation-wise, you want 5 midfielders or 3 strikers. Last year, midfielders were very beneficial to people, but I personally like 3 up front, still, even to this day. A lot of people not liking Grosh. Or Ismail Mayet not liking Grosh, to be fair. Super USA 678 thinks Pogba will be epic this year. Immortal Rapids with Delafeu in. Harry Doherty in the chat. How's it back 3 of Ward, Daniels, Alexander-Arnold? It's not bad. I ideally would like 2 defenders that you know are going to be good. Right now that's hard to do because they've put most of the good defenders in good teams at 6 million. I wouldn't say it's bad, but I like to have 1 defender from a top team, usually at 5.5 million. But that's very difficult this year. Neves is top class, the Chrissy 95, but I'm by no means I'm saying he's not good. Yushvalur, as far as I'm aware, he played as a left wing though for a summer last season, which he did very well at. Vince Chapman, I'm drinking beer tonight. The problem, the Christian 95 brings up a great point. Wolves are strengthening their side. So the player you put in may get replaced at some point. You are right, Ricky Lid. It's very difficult to get 3 good forwards and Salah. Lucas VDB, what do you think of De Gea, Tompkins, TAA, Daniels, Walcott, Mahrez, Mane, Sane, King, Firmino, Zaha, Schmeichel, Tarkowski, Otamendi and Goodmanson? Thank you so much for Sumport Un21 for joining the flock. Can we get some birds in the chat for the new member of the flock? Thank you so much for joining the family, my friend. I think De Gea is a great choice as goalkeeper. Schmeichel is a good backup. Very good backup. I almost think Lucas VDB is spending too much in goal. Tompkins, TAA and Daniels I like. Tarkowski and Otamendi good as well. Walcott, not a big fan of. Mahrez could do okay. I think Mane and Sane are good shouts though. Goodmanson's a good cheap midfielder. King, Firmino, Zaha, good front 3. No worries, Jeff. No worries, Jeff. Yeah, happy to join, mate. Happy to compare my score to others. You know, I may not always be the best, but it's always nice to see how well other people are doing. I generally am okay, though, so, you know. Big Dave has just joined the flock as well. Thank you so much for joining the flock, my friend. Much appreciated. We're over 61 people watching right now as well, so thank you guys for hanging out with me in the chat for so long. It's an honour, guys. It's an honour. It's that time of the year again, isn't it, boys, where FPL is hot, FPL is happening, and I become more popular, and I feel good about myself. Capkin is the GOAT. He's 1k on the World Cup Fantasy. Really? Super USA. I did not know he was that high in World Cup Fantasy. Well done, Capkin, man. Well done. I've done okay. I think I'm top 10k-ish, but yeah, I was hoping to do better. But World Cup Fantasy is hard. It's a different beast. I still need to sort my side out for the semi-finals, to be fair. Chrissy95 thinks it's too much in goal as well. Lucas VDB. Arsenal are going to play 1 strike on a new manager. That's why Auber is so expensive, I think. If they do, I think Auber will be the one that starts. TP says, I look confused and stressed when I did a draft with so many people. Ismail Mayer, I agree. City do have a great start to the season. When did you last watch Peppa Pig? Actually, my daughter had her nieces around. No, I had my nieces and nephews around. My daughter had her cousins around, and one of them loves Peppa Pig, so it was recently. I think it was Thursday or Friday. I always prefer to sort by points. Cheers, Jano. Good luck on your season. Continue what you're doing. No worries, Capkin. Same with you, my friend. Same with you. And by the way, if you ever want to do some sort of cross-promotion thing on channels, I'm always game to work with other content creators. And also, we have FPL Wildcats. It's just started, but we are looking to get other content creators onto our stream as well. So if you are interested, Capkin, let me know. Do I rate Austin at 6 million? I don't really rate anyone from Southampton. No offence, TP. But yeah, right now I don't really want to be jumping on Southampton. Would you rather pick a wing-back who can cross or a centre-back who can sort set pieces? If all things are equal, a centre-back who can score from set pieces is better than a wing-back who can cross, because you get 3 points for an assist and the defender gets more than that for a goal. But if someone gets enough assists that it counterbalances the goals, then you go with the person with the assists. Ayush Falur, that is definitely a good reason not to go Alonso. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I think I've just dropped to the bottom of the chat again. Love it. Love it. Alright, I am going to have to pile through some of these questions because unfortunately I can't do the really long streams like I used to because I have a newborn who needs to go to bed at some point. So let's kind of try and blitz through these questions. A more rapid says Salah is a win-win. Better way to go if he plays every game. With Lichtsteiner now he is go-to. Isn't Lichtsteiner a right back as well though, to Christian 95? How do we get to rate the team? Put the team in the chat, Charlie Werner, and I'll talk about it. There will be other streams, guys, so don't stress too much if I don't get to your team today. I'll answer your Salah yes or Salah no after the 7th of August game. I like preseason because at least you know who's likely to start, but I think preseason is a bit of a banana skin because sometimes people do really well in preseason and then don't in the season. Okay, James, that makes sense. Trying to play 2 of them for the good first fixture. That's a decent shout, Ayush. It's because the rotation is good with those 2 keepers, though. Best premium midfielder except Salah? I would say De Bruyne or Eriksen, for me, are the best midfielders apart from Salah. For first 5 game weeks, De Bruyne probably has the better fixtures. The Christian 95, if Mahrez does go to City, then it's going to make things really confusing in midfield. Aubameyang versus Aguero versus Lukaku. Purely because of pedigree and history, I'd go Aguero. But I do really like Aubameyang. I've never been a massive fan of Lukaku. Enger Turk, how you doing? Salah came from the Swiss league. That's a good point. He also then played for Chelsea and in Italy before he did really well in the Premiership, though. Best budget strikers, kind of looking at Wood and Toussaint. Look to be the standout options, Nabil B. Zaha is very popular, though, between 6 and 9 million. Pogba, a lot of people looking at Pogba. Could have a great season, but he's not really piqued my interest yet. CRO Chelsea, Fabianski, Begovic. I like the two goalkeepers. Cedric, Lovren, Keane, Socrates, Bamba. I wouldn't go with a new defender. He could be great at Arsenal, though, to be fair. Gylfi, Hazard, Mickey, Mane, Masaka, Lukaku, Aguero, Jimenez. I'm assuming Jimenez is because of his price. I think there might be a better option than Jimenez. I personally don't want to spend that money on Hazard myself, but he could have a great season. Jamal Rice, by the way, one of the best ranked players that is a part of the flock, says free City players are a must. So he is definitely someone to take his thoughts on board. John Narty's got Pickford, Daniels, Cedric, Alexander-Arnold, Salah, Sane, Eriksen, Pogba, Firmino, Arnautovic and Zaha. I like that side. Zaha and Arnautovic kind of helps you get... I'm presuming you have very cheap bench players though. But yeah, you've got Salah, you've got Firmino, you've got Eriksen and Sane. That's decent. We've got Luke Cormack with Leon, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Aspi, Azpilicueta, Trippier, Walker, Eriksen, Sane, and Mickey Vardy. How do you guys affording all these players? You must have really weak benches. But that's a good looking side. Thoughts on Mahrez? You know what? I kind of prefer him at Leicester because I think there he's the star, one of the stars. He could get lost in the shuffle at Man City, to be fair. Tony Jones makes a good point about Mila Vilovic. I just don't like him because I can't say his name. David Silva could be a great option. I was thinking about him and he would give me some more money to spend elsewhere. Mkhitaryan or Lingard? I'm worrying about Lingard's starts TP, so I'd go Mkhitaryan. Charlie Warner, Goodmanson, Milivojevic, Townsend and Fernando for cheap midfields. They're all decent options. Chris United 5 depart trade differential. I don't think he's quite good enough with a good enough start to the season to be a differential pick that's worthwhile. We've got Newcastle going with 9 to 18 easy fixtures. You are missing Everton players. I still want to wait and see how Everton do. Christian 95, Calvert Lewin 5.5, Okazaki 5.5, Carrillo 5.5, Jimenez 5.5, Bonatini 5.5. Mickey not worth getting. If you get Neves in, you've got 2+ million. True. To be honest, I don't usually like having free midfielders that expensive, so I probably will take one of them out. Currency is rupees. Got your mum twerking for my. Mr. Jobs, I think Trent may be winning as far as that's concerned. I've just got a message from my wife saying, have you finished yet? So we should definitely try and wrap this up. My network, basically, I joined a network. I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to like slander their name. But basically, by joining the network, they took 10% of my earnings, but it meant I would get my earnings every month instead of having to wait to hit a threshold with YouTube, because you can only get your money if you hit, I believe it's $100, and I don't hit $100 a month. So by giving 10% of my earnings to this network, I would get paid every month, and I get free music as well, which unfortunately now I may have to change my music because I may get copyright striked. For some of the music I use. So yeah, they've dropped me, unfortunately, because of the new YouTube rules, even though I'm well over the 4,000 views or whatever it is a month or whatever, and over the 1,000 subscribers. So it's unfortunate, but I've been dropped. Bednarek or Delafeu or Cabano and Ward. I like Ward, if that's the Burnley one, but I don't know much about Cabano. I think I've gone through Narty's side. By the way, guys, if I do take time to get to your squad, I will get there. I do try and go through everything in the chat. Thoughts on Lukaku? I like him. I just think there's better strikers in the league. Jota is pronounced Hotter. Okay, I'll try and remember that, but I'm rubbish with names, Charlie. Apparently, Ishvalur says Angus Gunn McCarthy. Angus Gunn is having a medical, so McCarthy and Foster may both not start. Thoughts on Ashley Barnes? Decent shout, but I think Charlie Ward's more preferred. Charlie Wood. I'm Taboy, Fabianski, Ryan, good goalkeepers, Tarkowski, Trippier, Alexander, Arnold, me, Maguire, like the defence, Ericsson, Sane, Pogba, Neves, Ki-Sung Young, Orba, Firmino, Zaha. That's a very good side. Twitch TV, I'm Taboy. I'm T-Boy. Pogba or Silva, I'd definitely go Silva. Lukaku, not sure he is worth it. Vardy is a good option. Vardy is always a player that can score goals, and he is priced quite nicely. Wilshere at West Ham. If West Ham had a better start, I would definitely consider him, the Chris United 5. Thoughts on Richarlison? I'm not going near him till he starts converting his chances again. Thoughts on Deulofeu? Again, I want to see him stay fit. Jordan Welch. Why is there a third place match between semi-final losers? Just because you need, like, I think it must be something to do with podiums and stuff like that. Who's the random Watford midfielder that's going to do bits this year? Capoue, Decore, Richarlison. That's a good shout. Maybe Will Hughes. Best midfielder for 6.5. You know what? I would look James Mahone. No, you know what? You were nice enough to do a super chat. So I will look, although I'm trying to blitz through the questions now. Because my wife's getting... I've just got a text from her. She's getting a bit annoyed. I mean, you could go with a Watford midfielder. Decore or Richarlison. Townsend, 6 million, looks good. Richie is always going to create chances. Or Brighton is very consistent. Those are probably the players I would look at. Ibe, if he got a run, would be decent as well. Elias is saying, what the flock is happening, my friend? Aguero, Zaha, Tucson, a good front three. That's decent. Sigurdsson could do better on the new manager, Jacko, 2-3-2-1. Deulofeu, I would take some time and evaluate first. Ishvalur, John Pickford, Fabianski, Mendy, Robertson, Tarkowski, Cedric Daniels, Hotta, Ericsson, Sane, Deulofeu, Redmond, Firmino, Lukaku, Reed. Don't like Redmond. Reed could be decent though. Thoughts on Lukaku and Salah? Kind of already gone over that. Think Salah is essential. Lukaku, not so much. Mafuzudin, Edison, Alexander Arnold, Cedric Daniels, David Silva, Ericsson, Mkhitaryan, Mane, Son, Zaha, Firmino, Aguero. Like that. And 1.5 million left for Kane if you need to bring him in. Kolasinac at 5 million. If he's a starter, that's a great shout. Thank you for pointing that out to me, Elias. Sanchez, I shouldn't imagine so unless he's got an injury of some sort. I'd thought he'd be pretty nailed on. Robbie Faulkner, Pickford, Begovic, like the goalkeepers. Tompkins, Alexander Arnold, Daniels, Bennett, Ward, Salah, Sane, Silva, Cabano, Masuaka, Aguero's. I like that side. I don't know who Cabano is. Everyone's saying Cabano though. I haven't really had a look yet. Thoughts on Ryan Robertson, Van Aanholt? This is Anne O'Brien, Alonso, Salah, William, Sigurdsson, Son, Zaha, Firmino, King, Malone, Daniels, Neves, and Boric. I like that side. Can't see much wrong with it. Not sure about King. May have been a one-season wonder. Vardy, I like the look of. Thank you, Big Dave, for loving the stream. Ayal Ratsabe. Don't go with Kane in August. He won't probably even play this time. Anne O'Brien, we've gone over some differentials. There will be a repeat of the stream, and I will also try and do some clips from the stream. We have looked at a bunch of differentials so far in the chat. Very sorry if it seems like I'm being very brief, but my wife does want to get the kid to bed, so I may not even get through all the questions. Hexior, Pope Hennessy, Alonso Robertson, Daniels, Jagielka, Bednarek, Salah, Sane, Ericsson, Milivojevic. Carney, Aguero, Niasse, Zahore. Not sure about your strikers. Don't know much about Zahore, but Niasse I probably would avoid. Jenna, I've been watching since 2016-17, and you've helped my fantasy team a lot. Thank you. No worries, Thomas. Thank you for watching for so long, and I'm glad to help. Who do you have for attackers? I have left that in the most awful place, haven't I? That should be better. I have Zaha, Wood, and Firmino, but I want to change that. I'm not happy with how that team looks. You rocking the red t-shirt tonight? What team do you support? I support AFC Wimbledon, Big Dave. So a team that wear blue. Thoughts on Aubameyang? First two fixtures are difficult, but had an excellent finish off last season. I think after those first two fixtures, he will be good. Owen Bowles, good to see you, man. Good to see you in the chat. Is it worth going big in defence at the start of this year from Jack Prue? I don't think so. First couple of game weeks, I think there can be quite a few games. Caught you live for the first time ever. G. Gooty, thank you so much, man. Thanks for the support on the channel. Alex Ballard, may I see your whole team, please? I should have moved it now. Apologies for leaving it in a really random place. Silver Mkhitaryan, I'll go with Silver. Ismail, who would be good differentials, and is it good to keep spare money at the start? I think it is good to keep spare money if you're looking to upgrade to someone like Kane. Other than that, I promise I will release a stream clip of good differentials. Do you think we should consider Sanchez? Lukaku's going to take time to come back. Sanchez might play striker. Look at pre-season. If he plays striker during pre-season, Sanchez, then he may play it in the league. I think I've gone over 6.5 midfielders. I think I'm going to have to call it. I'm almost there, to be fair. Federico Fernandez, Pickford, Alexander-Arnold, Cedric, Daniel, Sane, Salah, Ericsson, Mkhitaryan, Firmino, Austin, Zaha, Fabianski, Tompkins, Deulofeu, Ward. What do you think? Who looks decent? I like Pickford. Actually, I don't. That's a complete lie. I think just because of his performance for England doesn't mean he's a great option in FPL. Alexander-Arnold, I do like. Cedric, Daniel, Sane, Salah, Ericsson, Mkhitaryan. Firmino, Austin. Not a big fan of Austin. Zaha I like. Fabianski I like. Tompkins good. Deulofeu could be good. Is that Ward as in the defender? I like. Big Dave trying to teach me how to say the name. I'll still get it wrong in the future, but it's apparently Milivojevic. But that will go. Don't worry, mate. I'm not going to be able to say that all the time. Sunport, I believe I've gone over your team already. If I haven't, apologies, but I'm pretty sure I have. Should I invest in defence or go all in midfield? I think defence, you want one or two good options, like good starters. If Kolasinac is a starter at 5 million, he could be a good shout. Do I think Aguero will start? I think potentially. He didn't play that much in the World Cup, did he? I think Jesus probably played more than Aguero did. When is a good time to wildcard this year? I would imagine I'm going to try and do the opposite of last year, not play it so early. I think I played it game week 3 or 4 for the first international break. I may try and stay on to the second international break, just so I have more stats to look at. But generally, some people wait until the very end of the December 29th, so they don't get a completely refreshed team, but then transfers happen. So I personally think you need to play it before game week 10-ish. Just so you can make the most of the first half of the season. As far as the second half of the season, wildcard is best used to utilise double game weeks and blank game weeks. So that is what I'd do with the second wildcard. Mohamed El Bayabiten, De Gea, Schmeichel, good goalkeepers, Alonso, Alexander-Arnold, Cedric, Daniels, Otamendi, good defence, Ericsson, Neves, De Bruyne, Goodmanson, Mkhitaryan, Firmino, Arnautovic, and I still have to put one more forward for 8 mil. I like that team. I like that team. For 8 mil, I'm not sure who I'd go with. Kind of would maybe go Zaha, to be fair. And then you could spend 1 extra million to upgrade Mkhitaryan or Goodmanson. Ben Scott, good evening. Unfortunately, I'm about to go soon. One dislike on this lovely stream must be Fantasy Premier League tips. If you could like the video and share it on Twitter or any other social media, that would be great, guys, by the way. Also, various links in the description where you can support the channel. You can also super chat in the stream if you've enjoyed the stream, where you donate some money and you get to ask a question that I'll try and answer straight away. And you can become a sponsor of the stream, and you can become a sponsor with the stream if you want to, along with Blessing a Rolo. Eventually got that out. When am I getting on Wimbledon's feed? Don't think Wimbledon really cover Fantasy Premier League because they're not in the Premier League. Thoughts on Alexis Sanchez? The fact that he could play up front has been brought to my attention. It could be a good shout. Nolan Hafer, starting lineup: Begovic, TAA, Cedric, Daniel, Salah, Sanchez, Ericsson, Sane, Firmino, Wilson, Zaha. I like it. I'm assuming you've got a cheap bench. Thoughts on Walcott? I wouldn't risk it at the beginning of the season. What is the best site to watch out for pre-season matches? I have no idea. I will look into that for you, Veljakovic, Jovanovic. Butchered that name. Although it just says Modbro app. I've done Matthews's side. Jamal Rice saying goodnight, and I'm going to take this chance to say goodnight as well, because I'm officially at the bottom of the chat. So thank you guys so much for joining this stream. It's been a good one, roughly around 50 to 60 views at all times. So thank you guys so much. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Join the flock, join the next live streams. Hopefully the start of the video will go better than it did tonight. Also, consider hitting that notification bell so you are told as soon as I have a video go live and as soon as we go live with a live stream. Also, various links in the description down below. I'm going to try and do a lot more for my Patreons and sponsors this year as well, as a thank you to them for their continued support of this channel. Also, check out FPL Wildcats YouTube channel, where we should be doing some streams, not as many as I do on this channel, but we should be doing some streams on there as well with FPL Nimfria, FPL TV, and Kurt Joy. And we should hopefully be getting some other people from the community contributing to that channel as well. So go subscribe to that, please. There should be great content coming on that channel as well. I've been JNO. This has been FPL Today. And hopefully next stream will start off a lot smoother. And an awkward moment where my OBS has been minimized. So you're still viewing me, even though... Oh, we got a subscriber as well just before I go. Thank you, Federico Fernandez. Much appreciated, my friend.